From the heart of the land of the Guardians, where the dog pound roars, the Cavs soar, and heartbreak is just part of the game, this is 3 and Out, Cleveland Sports Talk. With Jason, Drew, and Michael, 3 diehard fans breaking down the highs, the lows, and everything in between. No fluff, no filters, just Cleveland sports the way it's meant to be. Now let's get into it. Here's your hosts, Michael, Jason, and Drew.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. We are 3 and Out. We are so glad you're back with us. I hope you took a little time to go back and check out our last podcast where we broke down some of the woes that we're having with the Guardians and their bullpen and Emmanuel Clase just being a shell of himself. We talked a little bit about the Cavs basketball and where they're at right now, and we broke some stuff down in there. I hope you guys, if you haven't done it already, go check that out. We also broke down our tradition of the new Easter play-in wiffle ball game where
I won
off of a technicality. So anyways, which brings me to my next topic.
Still won.
The Browns draft.
Speaking of a technicality,
right.
The Browns draft.
Right.
Good segue.
Yeah.
We are, oh my gosh, like in the week of right now. If you're
3 days away.
If you're counting, yes, we are right there. We are into the week of the draft. The Browns Super Bowl is right around the corner for us.
Yes.
And we own a pick, guys. We own a pick at number 2. We are back in the first round.
Not only do we have a first round pick,
We made it one of the best. Go Browns.
That's
One
right.
thing we can do well is get high draft picks.
and 3 and Out will be present
Yes, sir.
We will
at
be.
Cleveland Browns.
Well,
No,
second
it'll be,
long.
it'll be second and long will be present.
Second long will be present at the
3 and Out.
stadium for the draft party, the Journey
third-
concert.
Yeah, the 3rd and Out will be at a senior banquet for his son, which to whoever the parent is that decided that the NFL draft opening night was the best night for the banquet for the seniors is awesome. Maybe Wednesday next year.
Not a Browns fan.
Definitely
Yeah,
not a
obviously.
Browns fan. That's how I always used to joke that the choir director and the people in charge of the plays and musicals in high school,
They don't watch sports.
they were not Browns fans because
Right.
everything happened on a Sunday.
right
On a Sunday afternoon.
at 1:00.
That's right.
Or
So,
1:10.
Yeah.
Just to give you enough to like hit play on the game and then you have to
Yeah.
not watch it again.
Yeah.
But so we live right now in the season of the mock draft. The draft is right around the corner. The mock drafts constantly have you
It's okay. As Browns fans, we're used to being mocked.
right. So you're constantly fussing through these things, trying to find best case scenarios. Drinking water is a good scenario when you feel like you're going to go off over here. So that's perfect. But I was asking the guys a little earlier about this whole thing, who's the one guy that if we walk out of here without that you're disappointed, that this feels like it's just a failure of a draft. I feel like we're all on the same page with Travis Hunter's the guy that we're taking number 2. So I think that's where we're heading with that. However, there's some scenarios that lead. We signed Flacco. We signed Kenny Pickens. My button's broken, so I
Pickett.
can't even say it. Whatever. We're calling him Pickens since we don't have the button now. But I say all that to say, when you get down to that 33rd pick, we've got an aging quarterback. We've got a quarterback with 2 small hands, and we're not sure who that rookie's going to be. So a lot of times when I'm running through these mock drafts, I get down to 33 and Jackson Dart's off the board. Jalen Milroe is there, and the running backs, good chunk of the good running backs are still there. Sometimes Amari Hampton.
Amari and Hampton.
Amari and Hampton.
Amari.
I'm really bad with names. I don't even call my kid by their own names, but they just number 1, number 2. So we'll get through all this.
Number 2.
Junkins from Ohio State.
Exactly
Number
where I
2. Number 2. Number 2. Are you going number 2? Because it's been in there a long time.
Oh, my
So anyways, Travion Henderson, there. A lot of these guys, they're there. And I go to take one of them thinking, well, there's plenty of running backs here. So I'll take the quarterback, Jalen Milroe. That's the quarterback I want.
Yeah.
That's the one. I would be disappointed. I think that's kind of a hot hand, to take right now. So that's kind of a lame one to call out right there. But that's the guy that I would be kind of disappointed. So I feel like if I don't take him there, maybe I can sneak in and get him in the 3rd round. But Every time I go to the third round, he's gone. He gone. So it brings me to that question with you guys. So I feel like the positions we need to walk out of here pretty heavy in is the wide receiver, quarterback, and running back. Obvious, spots. So the real one that I would be willing to kind of roll with is the kid from, what was it, Arizona State, Scatabo.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a stud running back. If I'm not able to get one of my running backs in that 33rd or that third round pick and I go with Jalen Milroe, that's one of the guys that I feel you could still fall and land somewhere in there. However, man, it gets really sketchy. Like somebody could sneak in there. You're not guaranteed to get them. So I guess saying all of that, I would be very disappointed if we don't walk out of here with one of the stud running backs with us not re-signing Nick Chubb right now. So,
But you have to pick one.
what do you mean?
We can't say one of. You got to pick one.
I'm saying,
Which one would you be most disappointed?
I would really like to have either one of the kids from Ohio State would be fine for me. If that doesn't play out, Scatabo's the guy. I mean, that's the guy that if he's on the board and I get a pick and we're rolling down through there and he gets picked right before me, I'm kind of upset about that. Or if he's there and we decide to get cute and take some offensive tackle that nobody's ever heard of, or a tight end, I wouldn't be upset with, a couple of these tight ends that are in there. That wouldn't hurt my feelings too bad. But then to not still get that running back, knowing how atrocious our running game was last year, and there really hasn't been anything done whatsoever. There's rumors that J.K. Dobbins is looking to sign a 2-year deal worth like $8 million or something. I saw actual numbers today after seeing several posts of it resurfacing. Okay, like you said, I'm not mad about that. I'm not like over the top. I mean, it's a good running, but it's definitely better.
Jerome.
Definitely better than anything we put out last year.
Definite
Running
upgrade
back
from
wise.
Jerome.
Yeah.
And what was his name? Foreman?
Ford?
The other guy that ran first like twice from Atlanta. Deontay Foreman.
Yeah, Dante.
And what was the other guy from Buffalo that we signed that never even played with us?
Was it Hines?
Naheem. But he was a return guy, right?
Yeah, but still,
He got hurt.
Pierre Strong and all them guys didn't do jack with us. But I say all that to say, I really want a running back somehow out of this, but I also really love the thought of what Jalen Milroe would look like in the Browns uniform in a couple years from now.
See, I still have hope and belief in the Batman.
Okay.
So I'm going to change course. The guy that anytime I've done a mock, and I don't know how many I've done, but
A million.
probably more than I should have.
162.
I can never pass him up. I think every draft that I've been able to, I draft Harold Fannin Jr.
Yeah.
That's the kid from Bowling
The
Green.
tight end from Bowling
That's
Green.
another one I really like too.
Yeah, 117 catches, 1,500 yards, 10
He
touchdowns.
sometimes
Now,
has been there like in the 5th round.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't realize this. He's from Canton.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he's from Canton.
He's
So
from
he's a
Bowling
Canton
Green.
guy, but he's from Bowling Green. But think about this. Now, there's probably been some since, but he's got the exact same physical build as another MAC NFL tight end who happened to play basketball in college, who I played against, Antonio Gates.
Oh, I was going to say it. I thought that would be so impressive if I just was able to blurt that out.
Yeah. So,
Tony
and that turned out
Gonzalez.
pretty good.
Right.
And
So you can say he plays in the MAC, but Antonio Gates didn't even play football in the MAC. He played basketball.
You're way older than Antonio Gates. Way older.
Well, maybe, but no, I'm
According
not.
to
I
your
did play
livable
against him.
skills.
I did play against him.
And
But-
it's a good, it's a good 1-2 punch. When you look at what Joe Flacco did with Njoku, to put a guy that's as athletic as Harold.
Fannin.
I told you, I'm terrible with names. Bowling Green kid.
Yeah.
To put him out there, you big body, big frame, can catch the ball. He's athletic, and he will.
There's just
punch
something
you
about
in the
him I
mouth.
like.
I like him too.
And I don't know where he'll go. I mean, they're talking about the Penn State tight ends, probably top 10-ish.
Yeah.
He could go soon after that.
I've heard us rumored to like him though. The Browns are very interested in him.
Yeah, they should be. But that's my guy. And It's not a position necessarily of need. It's not. There's just something about him. I see his name on the draft. I got to take him.
What do you say?
You got anybody?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I have two.
Pick one.
The first
We'll
one.
help you. You
The
tell us
first
both.
one, I guess, to piggyback the running back conversation would be Quinshon Judkins. You know, he's been there on 90% of the mocks that I've done. He's been there at 67.
Okay.
If it's not him, it's the kid from Iowa. Yeah.
A little dingle
ward-
hopper.
Wardrobe malfunction there. You know, but
Nothing. Still.
that's right.
Turn it. No buttons to push.
There you go. The other one is Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State.
Okay.
I love him.
In my perfect draft scenario, he would be my pick at 33.
He almost always goes 32 when I do it.
Yeah, and Milrow would be somebody that we
67.
come back up. Well,
Oh,
he's
move
never
back
there at
up,
67, but we'd have to move back up ahead of Buffalo
Yeah.
See,
at
that's-
55.
That's where if you say with your perfect world, you know what I was saying. If Hunter, if you knew you could get him at 6 to 10, somewhere in that ballpark, and you
Yeah.
could drop down and get that second round pick,
Yeah.
get your guy at 33, and you go get another second round pick to get your.
Well,
That would be
and
sweet.
listen, let's not rule this out. You know, if the Giants get desperate, or the Patriots decide to make a move, or you know, Jacksonville or the Raiders jump up and want to get after Shador,
Yeah.
the possibility. I mean, would we really be mad if we ended up coming out of the first round with Carter, the edge rusher, Abdul Carter, and an extra second round pick and a second round pick, or another
that's
first round
interesting.
pick
Would
in
I be upset?
2026?
That's interesting, though. I mean, we haven't really talked much about moving anything other than Hunter at the number 2 pick. You know, that might be interesting to play with some scenarios there, even.
You know,
Well,
just
and we
what,
can-
what,
I
what
think
would
that-
we want? I mean, we know Hunter's what we want, but if we were giving up that number 2
Patrick
pick,
Mahomes.
I'm big. This is sound weird. I don't know how I just did that to myself, but I'm a big package guy.
yeah. It's not what I've heard, but hey,
Speaking of number 2, I literally had a surgery once because of how big my package had gotten. But I'm a big package guy, so I know this is the worst day to not have the buttons available to me for my discretion. My discretion.
yeah.
I like the thought of, if you can't, like, it's so dumb to think about passing up on the guy in the draft that probably will go down as the best one for sure out of this draft. You know, Hunter is definitely the guy that everybody is talking about. So it would definitely be dumb to pass up on that. However, in our current situation, if I was able to go get a Carter, which I wouldn't be disappointed to have Carter. Carter is a good ball player. He will be good for many years. Pairing out with Myles Garrett is ridiculous. Like that's fun. I would love to see what Jim Schwartz would do with the two of those guys in there. However, if you could load up on some draft picks where now you can go and you can get several of those guys that we're talking about, like which one's your favorite one here, or which one's your favorite. I mean, you could legitimately lock up 3 or 4 of those guys now instead of just 2.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That is something
Definitely
I've never really.
It's definitely intriguing, and not to complicate this even further, but I heard on a radio program today, the Browns, other than Braylon Edwards and Corey Coleman, we haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first round. Braylon Edwards, we got a few good years out of, right?
Yeah,
Corey Coleman was a bust. Right? And cornerbacks, Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
Ward was, what was he, pick 4 that year?
Yeah,
But not typically what you would go for at the number 2 pick.
Right.
You know, you don't see that very often, a wide receiver at number 2 or a cornerback. Now, to get them both, yes, that's a special player.
yeah.
But, you know, it's just, you know, the possibility of moving down, picking up
Right.
multiple picks, you know,
I've done a couple mock
it'd have
drafts.
to be the right package.
Yeah, I've done a couple mock drafts where
Apparently, Michael has it.
what?
The right,
the right
package.
package.
Well, now I do. I mean, it was
Yeah,
expensive. But I've done a couple where the Giants actually trade up one spot and they end up giving me like the entire franchise.
In 1959, we drafted Rich Kreitling.
Oh, yeah. Remember old
Yes. Rich Kreitling.
How about this, though? In 1962, with the number 4 overall pick, we drafted Gary Collins, who is a wide receiver punter combo.
Nice. We were just talking
We
about
drafted a punter in the first round.
Interesting.
In
That sounds so
1962.
Browns. That is so Browns to have your starting wide receiver be your
Paul
starting
Warfield was a
punter.
first round draft pick, by the way.
I mean, another unicorn that plays 2 positions,
Mhm.
you know, similar
Yeah,
to,
see?
you know, see?
So there is precedent.
Yes.
Oddly enough, they have Eric Metcalf listed as a running
Yeah.
back wide receiver combo coming out of Texas.
You know,
As
but
a what?
Wide receiver running back.
Yeah, I do remember that because he actually was like considered like a slot receiver before he became like the guy.
But yeah, since 99, Braylon Edwards and Corey Coleman.
yeah.
Don't forget Cordell Stewart, you know, too. Quarterback, wide receiver.
We didn't draft him.
I know, but that's still
Oh.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
But, you know,
But
he
I
didn't
would
get his
be-
jersey retired.
If we walk out of this draft back to the whole, I'd be disappointed. I'll be disappointed if we don't end up with one of the 3 second tier quarterbacks in, you know, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, in my opinion, and one of that second tier group of running backs between either one of the Ohio State guys, the kid from Iowa, or Scatabo. You know, we don't end up coming out of the draft with Hunter, one of those quarterbacks, and one of those running backs.
In other words, about 4 potential starters is what you're
Yes.
looking at, which is where I'm at too.
Well, and
That's
you
why
know,
I think
Hunter
it'd be
becomes
interesting
a
to
day one
do
starter,
a
right?
defensive one just to see what's out there defensively.
Right.
yeah.
At the
Hunter
picks we have,
becomes a day
because
one
we look
starter?
so heavily on offense.
Right?
Huh?
Would we agree with that? Hunter becomes a day one starter. I mean, coming out of
Well,
camp,
yeah.
he becomes
Yeah.
day one starter.
Day one.
Quarterback's not going to be, but that's a potential.
Yeah.
The running back, I don't know how you lose that spot with what we've got unless we go sign somebody.
Unless Chubb does come back.
Right.
And-
Which is
and-
possible.
And he's, you know, even if he's a diminished version of the old Chubb, that's still going to be better than anybody.
I
we're
did hear
drafting
somebody
right away.
comment just recently, which was a bummer, that he's very upset right now with the organization. And they've seen stuff like this happen before. You know, he's been posting videos of like his recovery and a couple Instagram posts of like something like,
They're
look
writing
past
me off. But
don't look past me or
Yeah.
something, or you know, whatever.
Well,
And
some people are reading that as a shot at the Browns. I do
Right.
not.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. There's a
did
couple
not.
guys that have said, you know, this is one of those situations where like a guy like that will go sign with the Steelers for the exact money you offered him, just to say screw you because you didn't want me then. However, the other thing I have heard was this is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he's going to resign, because that was part of the deal with Myles Garrett, and there was something to do with number situation with however all the cap falls into place. They're either going to have to release players or they're going to have to renegotiate contracts to free up the money to be able to bring him
They
in.
probably got to see what they need to do with all
Right.
the rookie contracts too.
Yeah, because if you trade back up into the first round, you're talking more money than what you
Different
normally
money.
would. Right.
yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see, but I don't know. Every mock draft I've done, I've taken Travis Hunter. So I am definitely,
Well, we'll start off the first one with.
I was going to say, I'm definitely
see where
serious.
how much time and where we go from there.
Definitely curious to see one that doesn't even involve maybe an offensive player for the first 2 rounds or something. But yeah, let's do that. You got one of those ready?
Yeah, give me a second.
We'll have you kind of lead the way here since you got the computer in front of you and you tell us what's available.
So we're just sticking with a 4 round, so we
Yeah.
can do multiple iterations. Because
Yeah.
after that,
Anything
it's-
past that is such a flip of a coin because you don't know who's going to be there. I mean, for all we know, that kid that you want from Bowling Green could be a 5th round pick, but at the same time, somebody could take him in the second. I've seen him go in the first round once.
Yeah. No,
mean,
it wouldn't
it's-
surprise me at all if he ends
Right.
up as a first round. So we'll start right now.
And no
Cam Ward.
trades. We'll just reject all
Yeah,
trades.
No trades right now.
Read
We're
the
just going
trades and
straight.
we'll decide.
Yeah.
I remember big package. Okay.
Big
We're
package.
only going to take big packages.
I love it when you call me big
Big
package.
All right. So Cam Ward, no surprise, went number 1.
Dang it.
We have Abdul Carter as the top prospect. Travis Hunter
Yeah, we'll
as
take it.
the third, but second now because
Take
Cam
him.
Ward. So I'm assuming for this first one, we want to take Travis Hunter.
Ding.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what I'll do is kind of while this is going, if you guys want to discuss certain things, I have it on slow
Okay.
so that I can call out maybe when different people are drafted. I
Right.
can pause at any point. So if you guys want me to pause and we can discuss maybe a pick here and there,
Okay.
we can do that. Just let me know. Okay. So we will get Travis Hunter at number 2. Giants, the first few I'll read off, took Abdul Carter. Patriots, Armand Membu, the tackle from Missouri.
Yep.
Will Campbell went 5. McMillan, the wide receiver, went to the Raiders. Mason Graham to the Jets. Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, to the Panthers. Ashton Genty to the Saints. Jalen Walker to the Bears. Tyler Warren. Dallas took trade here. Hold on, let's see that trade. So Dallas
Prescott.
traded with Seattle. Seattle moved up to 12. Dallas moved back to 18. And Seattle took a tackle. So they want to protect Sam Darnold.
Well, that's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Shador Sanders still on the board at 12.
Shador's still on. We're at 13.
Okay.
I didn't pause it quite in time. Josh Simmons went 14. That's the highest I've seen him go to Indianapolis.
Pause that once real quick there.
Yeah, it's paused.
So this is had me thinking, if you were to do a trade down scenario to who was 12?
12 was Seattle. It was Dallas.
Who
Seattle
was
traded
right
with-
above them?
at 11 or at 13? I'm trying to think.
San
11.
Francisco,
11 was San Francisco.
Where did Gentry go?
He went to the Saints at 9.
9. Yeah.
So in that particular scenario, it looks like the Saints are looking that way. Would you trade down to 9 to grab a guy like Gentry and get your
Genty.
whatever names?
No, I want, for me, I'm
Hunter
not
Holloway.
trading out of number 2.
Okay, so
If
Jason,
you offer me
would
Patrick
you-
Mahomes, I would think about it.
no,
Well,
For me, that's just my.
I would consider dropping out of number 2.
I almost forgot about him when we were talking about that scenario dropping down. You don't have to go Carter necessarily. If you could drop down to like 7 or 8,
And I love
maybe-
Genty,
yeah.
but I'm not.
Now I'm not. I admittedly I'm not as high on him. I think there's his size and the caliber of competition that he played in, and I think it was evident in the bowl game or the playoffs that
Well, can I ask you a question?
sure.
Was his game in the bowl game a result of him or the people around him and knowing only he's getting the ball?
I mean,
If he was playing behind
everybody knew all year he was the only one getting the ball.
Right,
But
but
when
a
they
bowl
played
game-
a
but
legitimately
always
good
different.
team,
That could stop him. But they
That's-
didn't have any other options too. So
yeah.
I'm just saying, if you put him on Ohio State behind Ohio State's offensive line,
against that level of competition, is that what you're saying?
Hmm?
I mean,
and I know it's a hypothetical,
but let me say
to me,
something. Yeah,
I think he's far and away the Heisman winner.
yeah,
Well-
I can see what you're saying.
So you think he puts up way better numbers than
'Cause not
Henderson
only-
and Judkins combined?
But
if he was at Ohio State?
not only that, now you're adding Jeremiah Smith into the mix too. You've got wide receivers that can get open. You've got
Yeah.
more weapons than what he had over there too.
That's
So,
again.
so now you can't
It's
just
a
focus
hypothetical that we
100% on
have
him.
no answer to. I realize that.
Right.
But that's just my opinion. I love everything.
You know
about
how
the
some of
kid.
these
I could be wrong.
they do the NFL comparison of like this player. Somebody broke him down and said that his NFL comparison was Frank Gore. I laughed like out loud by myself. Probably looked like a lunatic. I'm like, what part of him looks
That is
like
not Frank
other
Gore
than,
at all.
Other than he's dork.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Barry Sanders, maybe
That doesn't
a.
make sense.
That was so funny to me. I was like, Frank Gore, quit your job. Just do something else because that's not working.
Yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
digress.
All right. So what pick are we on?
So we are on 15 now. The Falcons are picking.
Michael Vick.
They might. Matthew Golden. Oh, wow. He went high. Mike Green, edge from Marshall. I haven't
Dart's
seen
still
that.
there.
Jade Barron went to the Bengals. They're trying to shore up their defense. Now here comes the Dallas pick that they traded for.
Shedeur Sanders.
Dallas.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, I got Dak Prescott, the kid from New England they just brought in, and
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders.
But, that's the team. It actually, for the draft, makes sense because
right, that's what
of
they've
the
been
connection
talking.
to Dallas and everything.
Well, they've been talking about it for so long.
But they trade back and get him at 18. So then Michael Williams went to Tampa Bay and Tyler Booker, a guard, went to Denver. So we are at Pittsburgh. Any guesses on who they might choose?
I'm gonna say Dart.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if they go Dart.
No, I think they take cornerback. That's my guess.
Cornerback? We'll find out. Jason was close.
Safety.
Nick. I don't even want to try to pronounce his last name. From South Carolina. So, yeah. Which, again, they've been
That's
known
good
to
for
have
us,
some
though.
good safeties over the years. So
They're leaving some good players and options there at 33.
Yeah. Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan. Which, wait a minute.
That's kind of crazy.
Oh, there's Tyler Warren. Okay. Yep. I just want to make sure he went. Emeka went to Green Bay
In the first round.
in the first.
Good for him.
I think he's going to be a first
Good
round.
for him.
I'm
I've seen
surprised he wasn't the second wide
I've
receiver.
seen him go like a couple different places.
Malachi Starks, that Gray Zabel, that guard from North Dakota State that I've picked up in a few drafts, like in the third round. He just went to Houston in the first round.
In the third round, and he's going in the first round of this one.
James Pierce, couple edges went. Now this one makes no sense.
My guy just leave.
28, Detroit Lions,
Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart.
Stupid idiots. Yeah, they got Hendon Hooker in the Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Jared Goff
Still playing well.
making money.
And probably, good
Yeah,
for
they
another
don't-
5
see-
years plus.
I don't see them taking a first round, using their first round pick on
No,
that.
I don't
It's
either. I
such a
think
deep-
that's
such a deep draft.
Can you see who best available is right there?
Yeah, Derek Harmon, the D tackle from Oregon.
That would make sense for them. Who else?
Jihad Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama, another D tackle, and then Hampton, the running back. Those are the top 5.
I would say they need D help more than they need running back or quarterback for sure.
Wonder if I can, let me see.
Negate that one.
No. I was trying to see if I could click on Detroit to look at like what their team needs are. But it
I'm
won't.
trying to.
I can pick up their draft picks. I can click on Jackson Dart, but I can't see what their
Yeah.
team needs theoretically are to see what they might pick. So, but interesting one. Not one I think that would happen, but
Right.
interesting. San Francisco traded up with Washington.
For
So
Jaden Daniels.
they moved up to 29 to grab Walter Nolan, the D tackle, and Washington traded back to 43.
So they traded out of the first round.
Yeah, they traded out of the first round. So Buffalo, that's actually a good pickup for Buffalo. They picked up Hampton. That's a good pickup for them.
At 30?
At 30, yeah.
That's what I've been saying. Like when we first started doing these
I could
mock
see
drafts,
Kansas City grabbing him. That's who I would see.
when we first started doing all these mock drafts, he was there every time at 33, and then just the last few that I've done.
Well, I told you guys there was and I wish I could remember who it was. It wasn't Mel Kiper. He was talking to him. They were having a back and forth about their mock drafts, and he had this other guy had Omarion going 12,
Okay,
which that would be who's 12?
I've seen
that
him
was
go-
the trade.
Yeah.
That was
and Gentry went
Dallas.
around that way too.
They had him going to Dallas.
Genty.
12.
Whatever. his
Genty.
name is.
And Hampton is more times than not there at 33 on my mocks.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, he's been there a lot, but then recently he's been sneaking back up into that first round. And I saw
So-
Pittsburgh take him once at 20,
Yeah.
which made me mad a little bit because
He's got the talent. And again, with what Barkley and Henry did this year, there may be more of a value on running backs. Now, with it being a deep running back draft, will people hold off?
right.
Or will they try to jump on
Right.
the cream of the crop? I don't know.
Yeah. So you're at 31?
We're at 31, Kansas City, D tackle from Michigan. Philly tackle.
Like, is that surprising at all? I mean, with Travis Kelce talking about being out, and there's like 4 good tight ends in there, they wouldn't try to snag a tight end right there.
Actually, I thought they would go offense. You know,
I just feel like with him being such a crucial part of that offense, and you've got what's the kid? Ends. Even the kid from Miami is
still there. Yeah,
yeah, good solid pickup. I've seen him go in the first round a couple times.
Yeah,
can't remember his name because I'm really bad with names.
So we have a trade offer.
After Tyler Warren, though, you know, there's Tyler Warren's the first or the only tight end with a first round grade.
Is that from Penn State, right?
Yeah, Penn State guy.
You know, and then you've got the kid from LSU, who I don't remember his name right now, but then you've got the kid from Bowling Green.
Well, where's the kid from Miami? They have him rated up in there too.
He's at least on this list.
EJ or something.
85. Elijah Arroyo.
Elijah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a bad tight end class, but as far as like the first round grade, you got that kid from Penn State.
Yeah, you can start.
He's going top 10.
Yeah.
So sleeper picks later on. Mm-hmm. Maybe Tyler Shook becomes a tight end. Who knows?
Who knows? Didn't we try that?
He's old enough to make
he can't take a hit.
We tried that with Tim. Just don't hit him in his collarbone or his shin
or his.
Don't hit him high. Don't hit him low.
Right. Don't invite him to our Easter wiffle ball game.
No, dude's 6'5", 220. He'll freaking crush it.
Or
all right, so we're up at 33.
We're up at 33. We have a trade offer. I know we're not taking trades, but we'll just.
Who went 32?
The tackle from Oregon.
To who again?
Eagles.
Yes, I didn't know if they had that.
So we were offered by the Chargers to give them 33 and pick 179 for 55, 86, and a second next year.
Baloney. That's bull crap.
Forget you. And a surprising offer from our divisional rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. Pick 33 and pick 255 to move down 16 spots to 49 and Cincinnati second next year.
No.
Not unless I'm getting 2 second rounds this year because they're not taking the guy I want.
And this is actually maybe one of the more interesting drafts I've seen because generally at the top, you got a lot of offense. Mm-hmm. And in terms of who we have as the rated players, Derek Harmon, the D tackle from Oregon, Jihad Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama, Donovan, the edge from Boston College, Trey Amos, the cornerback from Ole Miss. That's your top, 4, all defense. Then there's a wide receiver from Missouri. We just picked up one. Don't know that we want to do wide receiver. Then Tyleek Williams, D tackle from Ohio State, which I do like him. So now we get to some offense. Travion Henderson and Jalen Milroe. Do we want one of them?
I don't think it's a reach to take Jalen Milroe at 33.
I don't either.
That becomes who's your favorite? Who's your more favorite player?
With the way this draft has panned out, I agree. I think
so. In my opinion, when I look at this, and it goes back to the running back thing. So if I think Scatterbo is going to be gone because the other 2 running backs, Henderson and Judkins, are gone. They won't be there by our next pick.
No, they won't.
If I feel like he's going to be there at that 3rd pick, possibly even the 4th pick, my 4th round pick, then I'm Milroe all day. I mean, that's the guy I want. I would love to walk out of here with Travis Hunter.
Caleb Johnson could be available at 67. It's possible.
Okay.
That's a guy you could potentially pick up there.
But we're pretty much on the same board saying that Milroe's not going to be there.
No, there's no way.
And then that's where you go. So do you take a Will Howard over him? Are you comfortable with that? Or would you rather have Jalen Milroe and see what happens from there?
Here's what I like about, Travis Hunter, you essentially potentially get 2 players in one.
Right.
You get potentially a stud cornerback and potentially a stud wide receiver.
Allegedly.
With Milroe, the part that is attractive about him, at least early on, you get a backup quarterback.
And you get a guy.
And you get a gadget guy.
Right.
Somebody you can throw in certain packages.
4th and 1.
Again, our version of just push.
Right.
Your Taysom Hill.
Yeah. Right.
Type
goal
guy,
line type. That
you can throw in as, just because he's a big guy too.
Yeah.
He's not just fast. He's big.
Right.
he could play a pseudo running back QB. So now you kind of get two guys in
lock
one.
Lock it up. You got me there. Lock him up.
Right.
That's the one I always have a hard time passing up there.
I mean, what do you have? 20 rushing touchdowns, almost 800 yards rushing. In the
arm.
SEC against the Georges. Yeah, is that better?
There you go.
Thanks.
Hey, there he is.
Hey,
Welcome to the bowl game.
I'm here.
So are we all in agreement, Jalen?
I think
with this layout,
I just don't know how you pass him up.
see, I'd have had a much bigger argument if Jackson was still there,
Right.
because I'm still torn on those two.
Those are the two guys though. Those are the
torn.
two quarterbacks where it's like they're not going to be there as the third round pick.
I disagree a little bit. I think you have your first tier is Cam Ward.
Mhm.
Your second tier is Shador, Jackson, and Jalen. And then your third tier are your Shucks, your Howards, your McCords, your, all those guys.
Viewers.
Yeah. But all that being said, we good with Jalen?
Yes.
All right.
I like it.
I'm not going to read off everyone from here now that we're in a
skip down to our
second.
next pick at this point because now it's just a bunch of names.
Well, it's you got some wide receivers. There's that edge, which is weird that Derek Harmon's still on there, and he's 18th rated on here. Travion just went to the Bears. So a lot of wide receivers so far in the second round. I think there's 3 or 4 already, and we're only 10 deep.
Wow.
A lot of
Sucks to
defense
be
going.
them.
Yeah.
'Cause we got the best
Another
one.
Ohio State, Donovan Jackson. They're saying the potentially 16 Buckeyes could be drafted, which would be a record this year.
I was going to say, and that wasn't
15 is currently the
Jeez.
record, and they're saying there's 16 guys that are likely to be drafted.
Wow.
JT, there he goes. He went to the Bengals. Oh, we'd have to face
this is what they
JT.
need.
No. Okay, so Dallas has picked the pick that they traded for. Why are these guys? I got Oluwafemi Oladeji.
lock him up.
Well, he went to Dallas. He's the edge from UCLA. Tyleek went to Buffalo. So, Derek Harmon finally went to Green Bay at 54, 18th rated prospect. So now a lot of defense going. Another wide receiver. We're getting close. Baltimore, here's that 59th pick. They took a cornerback.
Which would have been Jalen Milroe.
Jalen Milroe. That's where you said he always goes. Now, this is a different mock draft system, so, it could be different here. Oh.
Who's that? Your guy?
No.
Judkins went 66.
63 to Kansas City.
Oh man.
Just missed him. And to Kansas City.
And now he's going to be arrested because that seems to be that all
That's
their guys
funny.
do is get arrested.
I'm running one simultaneously, and
Yeah.
Judkins went to Kansas City at 66 in mine. So they must have
Because
traded
they
up.
have back-to-back picks. Or not back-to-back, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
So right
funny.
before.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I was able to take Milroe at 67.
Is yours turning out a little different?
Yeah, it is. I'm watching along.
Okay.
But some of it's similar.
So 65, who went?
Mason Taylor, tight end LSU.
To the New York Giants.
The New York Football Giants.
Tyler Shuck.
Ooh.
They didn't learn their lesson enough. Let's get one broken quarterback replaced with another broken quarterback.
Jason will be happy. He'll be a Giants fan this year.
They're like, we screwed up by letting Daniel Jones go. Let's go get a guy that can trip over his own feet and break his collarbone.
Listen, it wasn't too many episodes ago, Michael. I had you come into the Shuck
It
side
went away
of
real
things.
quick, though, once I saw how many injuries he had within like 30 seconds. However, that pick does make sense for them. I mean, if that's what your system was built for, you got the guy there that was the offensive coordinator for Josh Allen. Comes over there with Daniel Jones.
Listen,
6 foot,
nobody
5, 6
protects
foot 6.
collarbones like the New York Football
Right.
Giants.
Right, that's their thing. Intimidation.
Yeah,
Oh.
Are you happy with that pick?
I am happy with that pick. Wait a minute. What pick? Our pick?
The Giants taking your Shuck.
Yeah. We already got Milroe.
I know. I just want to make sure you were happy
Yeah.
where he landed. That's your boy.
Yeah, I'll watch a few games.
All right. So Kansas City took a safety right before us. So now our trade offer, we got 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Jets offering the 73rd pick. So not dropping too far.
Garrett Olsen.
I wish. I can counter. They can ask for it. And pick 110. So we actually get 2 more picks in this draft. I believe. What's the last pick in the 4th round?
That's numbers.
Yeah, it's numbers.
They'll do good with
So we'd
numbers.
actually get another pick in our current draft for 67 and 179. So we'd have to drop 6 spots.
179 is round 5.
Yeah, but we'd get 110.
Oh,
73
that's
and 110.
Definitely one. That's round 4 for sure. So, yeah.
So
All right. I don't like that, but
How many third rounds we have? 2.
2.
So we get 2 fourth rounds.
We'd still have 2 third rounds and then we'd have 2 4th rounds. But
yeah.
we'd only drop 6 spots. Now, I can't. Oh, wait, I can. I can hide it.
Can
How
you
do I get
see?
it back? Oh, trade offer. There it is.
Can you see who's there? Is
No.
Fannin Jr. available?
He is. But also is Caleb Johnson is the 2nd highest rated player.
Mm.
And that's somebody we've talked about. And Fannin is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So you could potentially make the trade.
And still get one of the 2.
Trade it.
Ship it and see who's there.
Send
Are
it.
you for it?
Yeah, might as well.
All right.
What do we got to lose?
Oh, they took a tackle.
Okay.
Lathan Ransom from Ohio State to the Raiders. Jaden Higgins, Iowa State. We're getting closer. Darian Porter,
It's
Iowa
gonna be that
State.
5th pick.
Dorian Strong. We're going to get one of the 2 because we got our pick of the 2.
So we
If-
Go.
Or we could trade down 3 more with Dallas. No, Dallas, forget you. Or we could trade down 8 more with the Bengals. No, we're gonna reject them both.
Yeah,
I'm not
we traded.
That's
it out.
not even up.
so it's either the running back out of Iowa or the tight end from Bowling Green.
We're at our 3rd round pick.
This is our 3rd, number 73. Yeah, because I don't think. When do we pick again? 94. Yeah, 94.
How far down is Scatabo?
Let's see. He is.
He's one that disappears.
So he's rated 92. He's the 3rd rated running back.
I've seen him go higher though because
But again, I told you guys earlier, the one that I've heard is a really good fit. I don't know much about him, but is Devin Neal from Kansas, and he will be there later. Now, I'll read you his scouting report. He's a dynamic, well-rounded running back. He's 5'11", 213, with impressive burst and vision, excels at finding cutback lanes, and displays great patience behind his blocks. Sounds like Chubb. Often turning small openings into explosive plays.
Speaking of big packages,
Neal's acceleration through the hole. And balance through contact make him a consistent threat for chunk yardage. He's also a reliable pass catcher, adding value on 3rd downs, while he shows up solid top end speed.
he's
Not
another
tight end.
2-way player. He's a tight end and a running back. Take him.
He lacks the elite breakaway gear to consistently outrun defenders in
Oh,
the
we
open
need that.
field. Neal's pass protection is adequate, but still developing, and he occasionally hesitates against more physical front sevens. So that's a guy that I've heard is a good fit for the Browns. Whether or not we'd have any interest in holding off and seeing if one of the other guys aren't around, maybe we look at him later. But
Read those best availables again.
so the best availables are Carson Schwezinger, linebacker from UCLA, which we do need a linebacker. Caleb Johnson, a D tackle from Texas, wide receiver from Washington State, and then Harold Fannin. So I think
I say the tight end.
I like the tight end.
tight end.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go. I'm all for, me, that's my guy. So I'm all for it. We got Harold. So let's see how long before Caleb Johnson is off the board. Hey, look, Chris Paul Jr. That'll
Wrong
be
sport.
it. Cam Scatabo to Dallas at 76.
That hurt.
I did not see that one coming.
That's what I was saying. I've seen him
Yeah.
go because of where he's at with the running backs left.
Yeah.
I've seen him go kind of high a couple times.
Another trade. Nothing big. A lot of linemen going right now. Offense and defensive linemen. There goes Kyle Williams, the Washington State wide receiver. Steelers picking. They took Eric Ayanamore, a wide receiver from Stanford. Another cornerback. Seattle took a linebacker. There's a chance, guys. There's your tight end from Miami, Elijah Arroyo. Emory Jones. Denzel Burke to the Chargers. The Rams, sorry. Demetrius Knight. That's a linebacker I've been looking at. Caleb Johnson, 2 picks before us to Seattle. Kyle Kennard. And now it's our turn. I'm rejecting trades. We only got 1 offer. Not dropping down.
And if you could pause it,
yeah, it's on us. So
I was going to say,
so it is paused.
That scenario there, you can imagine we'd try and move up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you feel like somebody else is going to make a move,
Yeah.
because it's not.
We picked up another 4th round pick.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a package to be made.
Yeah. We
And I
could
would
move
hope our
back up.
guys have better intelligence than what we do going off of AI stuff
Yeah, right.
now.
Yeah.
Hopefully they aren't just sitting there with
100%.
ChatGPT going, who should I take?
Yeah.
Well, according to our stats in Siri, you should
This
take.
guy.
All right. So best available. I mean, we need an offensive tackle. We need an edge rusher.
We haven't picked. Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't picked up a single defensive guy yet.
So the best
Linebacker.
edge is Ashton Jalot from Louisville. So you missed out on Shuck. You could grab their edge. And the best offensive tackle is Cameron Williams from Texas. And then those are the number 2 and 3 rated players left. But after that is DJ Giddens, your guy from Kansas State. And after that is Tez Johnson, the speedy little dude from Texas.
We didn't take a running back, right? Yet.
No, we haven't.
Quarterback, wide receiver.
Nope. Travis Hunter, Jalen Milroe, and Harold Fannin.
I think we need to go defense of some sort.
Who was there for edge?
Ashton Jalot. So here, let me hold.
He's the guy
He's
that
a
actually
disruptive.
broke
He's 6'2", 264. He broke what?
Tyler Shook's collarbone.
Collarbone in practice.
Mm-hmm.
He's a disruptive, high motor edge rusher with a strong combination of speed, power, technique. Excels getting off the line quickly, using explosive first step to gain an advantage against blockers. Hand fighting skills, array of pass rush moves, allow him to consistently pressure. What's his? It says he's a bit confounding because his below average length can impact his reach at times, but he has great natural leverage, compact mass, explosive capacity, and ankle flexibility. And his collegiate production could carry over to the NFL with his motor.
What size motor?
6'2", 264. So do we feel like we, because I still think we could get a good running back down further,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
but
We gotta get a defensive guy. That's
you think
it's
so?
not reality that we're gonna go this far without getting a defensive guy.
Yeah.
Well, let me
Andrew
here. Let
Berry.
me pull up the other edge guys.
Well, it doesn't have to be edge. We need linebacker too. Defensive tackle wouldn't be a bad fit. So, I mean, who's the top rated defensive player?
It's the D tackle. No wait, yeah, it's a D tackle.
What's his name?
Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee.
What's the next defensive
That one
guy?
I just read you, the edge from Louisville.
I say we take the edge.
I'm
We got too many options that we're getting ready to
Okay.
put at defensive tackle. Alex Wright might be moving over there. Michael Hall's not arrested anymore.
Tez Johnson just went, so there's a speedy little dude. Guess where he went? You'll never guess.
Baltimore.
Pittsburgh,
A speedy little receiver.
New England.
You know who loves his speedy little receivers?
New England
Kansas
did.
City.
Patrick Mahomes.
I was gonna say New England used to
Yeah,
speedy little
Patty.
white guys.
Patty got his speedy little guy.
Mm.
Anyway, let's see what else we got. Some offensive guys, offensive tackles going. Detroit, defensive lineman. We're up in one more. Will Howard, look at you.
Where'd he go?
He went to Tennessee.
Ah, he went to Tennessee in my draft too.
Oh, really?
Poor guy.
Okay.
It's either him or
That just
Cam
means
Ward.
he'll be traded later on to somewhere better. No, we're not going to take Pittsburgh's trade. So here's what we have so far: Travis Hunter, Jalen
Pittsburgh went Kenny?
Milroe, Harold Fannin, Ashton Jalot. So that's what we have so far. This is pick 104. That D tackle still there, as is that offensive tackle, as is DJ Giddens. So all three of the guys that we were also looking at are still there. There's trying to look. Linebacker is kind of thin in terms of, the next rated guy is 132. We're at pick 103. Guy from Oklahoma. Now Cody Simon's still there. I actually like him.
So
He's rated 163.
The offensive tackle, if we're going to take an offensive tackle in the 4th round, it has to be somebody that
Gonna make a difference.
Well, he's going to either be good at the running game or he's going to be good at the pass. You're not going to get a guy that's a stud in the 4th round. So, you pick up a guy that, is going to be able to spell you.
Well, I would guess because he's from Texas that he's probably more of a pass blocker.
Right. And big.
What's it say about him?
He's 6'5", 317.
That's a big man.
He's just a 1-year starter. Now, he was at right tackle, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because Jack, what's his name?
Conklin.
Thank you.
But
he's probably done after
We
this
just signed that guy from Washington.
But he's a swing tackle, isn't he?
He's a right tackle.
Oh, I thought he was a swing.
And they're penciling him as the backup right tackle and moving Jones over to left tackle.
Yeah, I knew they were moving Jones over, but I don't believe he'll make it through a full season. At least he hasn't yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So he's a right tackle, so that's probably not ideal if we're thinking left tackle.
Right.
In the run game, he primarily wins by using size to seal and wall off defenders. Good initial pop at the point of attack. Passing game, he uses size and length to create a wide path between the rusher and the quarterback. Makes it very difficult for defenders to go around or through him with his overall size and athleticism.
What's his
He's
name?
still refining his anchor footwork, hand placement, and leverage maintenance. Early NFL starts could expose his deficiencies, but he has great potential. Cameron Williams. But again, if he's a right tackle, that's not necessarily what we're looking for.
Right. Especially a 4th round.
So
right tackle.
Cameron Williams out of Texas is the 8th rated tackle in the draft, and we're picking him up in the 4th round. According to ESPN, he's a developmental right tackle with intriguing tools. So
intriguing left tackle tools, or
yeah, maybe. He's not that polished as a pass blocker, but his arms are long. That's the kind of guy I could see us taking at that spot and working with. I mean, we do have.
What are other options other than tackle?
There's quite in terms of rating, there's quite a drop off. He's a 90th rated prospect. The next tackle left is 129.
Lock him up then. I said. We need so much help there. We're not getting any younger there.
Well, but we've also talked running back, and you still have DJ Giddens.
Do you think that he'll be there?
Who do we got at running back left?
Well, it's DJ Giddens. Or now there's some in between, or the Devin Neal is the guy that I was reading from Kansas. So you got Kansas State or Kansas, but DJ's
the one I've heard a couple times.
Now we pick again in 6 picks.
Let's do the tackle then.
No, do the tackle, and
because one of those running backs will be there.
Okay, let's find out. New York's probably going to take him. Nope. New York took a tight end. New England took a wide receiver. Jacksonville took a D tackle. Raiders took a wide receiver. Buffalo got a cornerback, so we're up.
Anyone we want. We'll let you make the choice.
And according to ESPN, these guys are the 8th and 9th ranked running backs, basically essentially the same grade.
Both DJ and
Devin.
But you said that Devin is what they said fit our mold better, though.
He's 5'11", 213. Yeah. The other kid's 6 foot, 212.
So if they're essentially the same running back, I'd rather take the guy that fits our team better.
No.
Now, Devin Neal it says here he has small hands. So between him and Kenny Pickett.
Oh, man, yeah.
The whole back.
Perfect. I'll tell you what, though. They're great at the combine. So DJ Giddens graded out at a 9.78.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Neal graded out at a 6.66.
Yeah, DJ Giddens.
Listen, my sons are very bright kids. However, they are terrible test takers. So maybe that was the...
Maybe. It actually does say DJ, though, and knew he's a good runner, but it says he's has the ability to impact both as a runner and a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He runs with a physical style, excellent balance, ability to break tackles, tight spaces, good vision, and patience. As a receiver, he shows reliable hands and the ability to create mismatches against linebackers. The main concerns with him are a lack of elite mass and his ability to be a reliable pass blocker. However, interesting. It says, however, he is relatively new to the position. So there's plenty of development overall.
What's his size?
6 foot 212.
Yeah,
He's a slasher with enough speed to stretch seams and generate momentum, and his skill set lends to.
What did he used to be?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say take him. That'd
Yeah.
be my pick.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking. All right, we got one more.
110, right? The pick we picked up.
We should
The
get
Jets.
a center.
That's the one we just did was 110. Is that all
Oh,
our picks?
I
Oh
thought
yeah,
that
that
was-
is all our picks.
Is that it?
That's it. That's all our picks.
Ah.
What do we get for
So
grade?
well, this one doesn't give us a grade.
Oh, what the crap?
Yeah, I know.
All right, start over.
We'll do it again. No, so we get Travis Hunter, Jalen Milroe, Harold Fannin Jr. I'm excited about that one. Edge from Louisville, Ashton Gillot. I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Gelato.
And the tackle from Texas, Cameron Williams, and the running back from Kansas State, DJ Giddens. So basically, we got 1.5 defensive players, but basically steered mostly towards offense.
Nice.
Which I think we need.
Yeah. No,
Defense struggled last year, but it only because our offense
Yeah.
struggled so bad last year.
Eerily,
yours was really close.
eerily similar.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
You were,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I ended up with
For
Just
those
a-
of you that can't see his laptop, he did it as well and almost came up with the exact same
I
results.
think I got Hampton though.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
got Hampton.
But you got Milroe at 67. That's like
That'd be nice.
yeah. I don't see that happening, but
No, I don't either. I don't either.
You know, we talk about that all the time. When you're going 3 and out every single possession, your defense gets tired and they get
Mhm.
a little pissed
If
off.
our offense is a little better,
Right.
we were one of the worst offenses in the league, if not the worst.
Right.
So-
And nothing, and there was nothing there as a bright spot. Jerry Judy.
No.
Was
Jerry
it.
Judy.
That
Jerry
was it.
Judy.
That was it.
yeah, and that's the
Jameis
problem.
Winston's pre-games were what we looked forward to. Like we literally had text group messages going out about what we thought he was going to say in the freaking.
Mhm.
I'm actually
That's
going to miss
terrible.
those.
I am really, too.
Yeah,
That's all right.
I enjoyed Jameis.
When we trade for Tyler Shook
Shock.
from the Giants, we'll get to hear how many of those were imparted into him. But I mean, I think in a perfect world, it's hard to draft defense anyways because you don't know what you're going to get. But the offense is
Well, and I
more
think
fun to
to me
draft
that's
anyways.
why I think you have to take Tyler or
Tyler Shuck, right?
Tyler,
Yeah. You got to take him.
Travis Hunter,
Oh, okay.
because I think of anybody you get there,
you can throw. him
he's a
against
known
them.
commodity.
Right.
Yeah.
And even Abdul Carter, with his injuries, his foot, those types of things, you don't know how that's
Right.
going to impact him moving forward.
And like you
You know.
said, what is the percentage of impact he has per game versus what?
3 plays,
Right.
5 plays, whereas
Yeah.
Hunter could be, involved
plays
in
in a
10
drive.
to 12 plays on offense.
drive.
And 5 plays on defense.
Right.
And that might be shooting it low.
Yeah.
So there's very little that you would convince me. No, who am I? But to
True.
trade out of that number 2 position.
You're
Yeah.
true.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
Got it.
duh. Thanks.
Yeah.
Should have lost the wiffle ball game.
The technicality winner.
One.
Yeah.
All I know is that
Winner.
we've
There's
got
definitely an asterisk by that.
right.
I'll take it.
At the asterisk win.
You're like the
Me and the
what was that? What's-
asterisk.
what
We'll
was
take
that
our
thing
trophy and go home.
the play-in champion. What is it, the basketball has?
Yeah.
The mid-season.
Oh, the
yeah.
in-season tournament.
Yeah, you're the in-season tournament winner.
Yeah,
But
that's
nobody
okay.
cares.
Yeah.
By the way, really, really unimportant, and I know we're trying to wrap up here, but so Trey Young, you know how much I can't stand him.
Right.
Yeah.
So back when they beat the Cavs in the play-in,
Uh,
and he was like celebrating and, kind of stomping on the court and
Right.
showing how manly he was and,
all 5'10" of them.
Well, this year, they lost and now he's We shouldn't even have the play-in. If you qualify for the playoffs, you qualify for the playoffs. I don't know why we do the stupid play-in.
Because you can't win.
Because this year you lost.
Right.
Big baby.
Quit whining.
Oh, and they lost twice.
They lost twice, yeah.
Get some Rogaine and quit being a baby.
Yeah.
Can't stand them. But anyway, that has nothing to do with the NFL draft.
No.
But I had to throw that in there.
I like it.
But if we came away with that draft, I'd be happy.
Yeah. Either one of those, really. I like the one you just showed too.
Well, but it's again, what you were saying is right. To me, it has to be offensively geared
Yeah.
because we have one, maybe two weapons, depending on who the quarterback is.
And really defensively, there's not a bunch of studs in there.
No. Well, I mean, there's
it's definitely
there's
more
starter quality.
Right, but
that's
there's
for
more
sure.
offensive heavy players for what we're well, I guess in our particular situation, because we have no running back, guys later on down the road at running back are better than the ones we have now. So it makes sense to draft running backs. You know, the wide receivers, we don't need some of the ones in there. So you go get Hunter up there, you know, which is why we're so locked into him at 2. There's not another caliber of that player.
No,
later on
there
in
are
the
good.
draft.
Like Emeka Egbuka. If we didn't draft Hunter for whatever reason,
And we
Cam
trade
Ward
way
falls
down
to
to
number
the
2,
20s.
and he fell to us at 33, I'd be ecstatic.
Right.
I love him. I think he's a great receiver.
Right.
You know, in history says if you're coming out of Ohio State or LSU as a receiver, you're going to be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think he'll be a good receiver.
I'm over the top excited. I can't wait till Thursday.
So excited that you're not going.
Well, I wish I could, but I love my son more than I love our Cleveland Browns. So I guess I got to do what I got to do.
What is wrong with you?
It's
Tough
these
choice.
Stupid parents.
Tough choice.
But I can't wait to hear the actual end result of that first round and break this down post draft and talk about all the players and where they fit and who we are so pissed that we took, you know, and all that fun jazz, because you know that's happening. In a perfect world, this is not going to be every pick
No,
that we want is going to get made, but at the same time,
no.
I
Detroit
hope-
Lions are not going to take Jackson Dart.
right?
I don't see that happening.
happening.
You know, so it's not perfect, but it's fun,
Right,
and at least gives, you know, we'll see how close we came.
right.
Little shout out. What website did we use, Drew?
That was profootballnetwork.com.
You like to throw
And-
some sponsorship towards us for doing that?
Yeah, we'd
we'll
love
take
that.
it.
Yeah, it's a great
I need
site.
to get
It
a
really
new
is.
machine. So if
Wah, wah,
you're
wah.
looking to,
You push the wah 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 button.
Wah,
oh
wah,
wait, that was the
wah.
beat button. Sorry. But
I'm off cue. Sorry.
anyways, this was fun. I actually enjoyed doing this. This is
I wish we had more time to do more. You know, because it would have been fun to do ones that did focus on different
Yeah, that
aspects
was-
of the draft. But
that's cool. And like I said, fist bump to everybody if that works out that way, because that would be awesome.
yeah,
So
I'd actually consider Andrew Berry
you'd go high five him.
went and it did something in the offseason and somehow made himself good at drafting.
I'll take it.
If Andrew Berry can win Drew over,
We're in the show.
yeah,
Nothing else to talk
There's
about.
nothing to talk about.
nothing to talk about.
So we appreciate you guys staying with us with this little lengthier version of this show, but that was fun. Can't wait to see what happens with the draft. Be on the lookout for our next one where we're going to really hammer home who they got, who they picked. Cavs play round number 2 of the first round.
Yeah,
How do you say
game
that?
2.
Yeah.
Game 2.
That's what
Game 2.
Game
yeah.
2.
Wednesday.
No button to push. No button. Game 2
Fix it.
of the first round. Guardians still have 162 games left to
figure it out.
At
Right.
least, yeah.
So we're good to go. We're golden.
That means the bullpen will have 162 more opportunities
Right.
to figure it out.
Right.
Right. So
I don't know that Class A will.
no. All good stuff to talk about. We'll do it on the flip
We will
side.
be here.
We'll check you later.
Thank you for joining us on 3 and Out. Be on the lookout for more episodes.